Assalamu alaikum. I want to welcome everyone back to our discussion about the 10 promised paradise, and we've already went over Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab, and today we begin the life of Uthman ibn Affan, or just some details about him. Unfortunately, because of time, we're unable to go through in depth everything about some of their lives, but we will do our best and we will discuss the things that are relevant and important for us to learn from, inshallah. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. Hopefully your fast is going well and you're gaining from your fast. Inshallah, we are soon approaching the final quarter of Ramadan. This is the time that we should be increasing our efforts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially our salah. We want to make sure that we catch Laylatul Qadr, which could fall on any odd night during the month of Ramadan, so we want to make sure that we're preparing ourselves for that. Let's move forward. So, Uthman ibn Affan, I haven't studied him in a while, and this was an opportunity for me to catch up with him, and I have to say, he's a motivation for me. His life is such a beautiful story that sadly ended very tragically, and it was you could say, the introduction of fitna into this ummah, where it became an issue. But we're going to get to that, not today, but tomorrow, inshallah. Today, I just want to talk to you guys about his early life before he became a Khalifa. Uthman is the third Khalifa. First is Abu Bakr, the second is Umar, the third is Uthman, the fourth is Ali. These are the men who took over rulership after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Uthman has the honor of being the son-in-law to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that he married Ruqayya, which is the daughter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that was his first marriage. Uthman also is the one who gave the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam a grandson, and that grandson, his son, Uthman's son, died at the age of 6. Abdullah was his name. He died at the age of 6, and we'll talk about that briefly, inshallah. So some other facts about him is that he was known for his shyness. Subhanallah, he was known for his shyness. And there's a hadith that really illustrates, how much honor he had because of his shyness. One time the Prophet ﷺ is sitting, and Abu Bakr comes in. And again, we said this, a lot of times it's always Abu Bakr comes, and then Umar comes, and then Uthman comes. It's almost as if, we're being conditioned and prepared for their rulership. So Abu Bakr comes in, and the Prophet ﷺ is sitting up, he's laying kind of like lounging, and his leg is visible, right? His leg is visible. And, it was nothing big. They're talking, they're discussing, he's kind of lounging. And then Umar comes in, same thing, he doesn't change his position. And then Uthman comes in, and the Prophet ﷺ sits up, he straightens his clothes out, he pulls his garment past his legs, and he sits up, and he's talking with Uthman. And Aisha she's peeping all of this, she's watching all of this. And then Aisha says, Ya Rasulullah, why is it when Abu Bakr and Umar both walk in, you didn't change your position, you didn't fix your clothes? And then when Uthman walks in, you sit up, you change your posture and everything. The Prophet said, should I not be shy for someone who the angels are shy of? That's beautiful. The Prophet ﷺ is talking about, the angels, the malaika, who, they record everything we say, everything we do. They're always constantly watching us, right? They're shy of Uthman. They don't. They have a certain amount of honor that they give to Uthman because of his shyness. So that was one thing. The next thing is Uthman inherited a lot of money, and he was very wealthy, and he made investments, and it made him a very prominent businessman. He was among the wealthy, and we're going to see what he did with his money for Islam, which are some amazing stories. Like we said, he never got married until Ruqayya, and Uthman was the type of person who wasn't out partying, getting drunk. He never took a sip of liquor. He never spent time with a woman outside of marriage. Uthman was, his fitrah was already on what we know from Islam. So he was already about that. We don't know a lot about his life in Mecca. We do know that he was a part of the first group of Muslims who fled from Mecca to Abyssinia, and this happened twice, right? Not with Uthman, but the going to Abyssinia happened twice. Uthman was a part of the first group that went. They went to Abyssinia, they spent some time there, and Abdullah, his son, was born in Abyssinia. And then they came back because they heard a rumor that Quraysh had accepted Islam. Which wasn't the case, it was just a rumor, but he comes back on that premise. When he gets back, he says that he's not going to flee again. He's going to stay in Mecca. He felt that his protection, his strength was better at Mecca, and it was. Everyone loved Uthman. Everyone loved Uthman. Uthman was a very special Sahabi before and after Islam. Everyone loved him. So basically, that's his life in Mecca. We don't have a lot of details about it, and he ends up making hijrah with Ruqayya, and they get to Medina. Now, the Battle of Badr takes place, and it's a very interesting thing to mention of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, right? The Battle of Badr takes place. Uthman wants to fight in the Battle of Badr. However, his wife, Ruqayya, was sick. The Prophet ﷺ told him, no, stay behind. Don't join the battle. So, Uthman stayed behind, watching, taking care of his wife, looking after her, making sure she was okay, while the Prophet ﷺ fought in the Battle of Badr. And remember, Badr was, it turned into a war. It was not necessarily in the beginning, initially to be a war. He wanted to go with the Prophet ﷺ. So remember, it wasn't a war at first, it turned into a war. The Muslims were victorious. In the first battle of Islam, we were victorious. The Muslims won. The Prophet ﷺ comes back, and our Prophet ﷺ comes back to the news. The day that he comes back, the winning of Badr, that day, Ruqayya passes away. And Uthman buries her, and he's literally coming back from the burial as the Prophet ﷺ is entering the city from their victory. Look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gives victory to the Prophet ﷺ in the first battle, right, of Islam, but he comes home and Allah takes his daughter. It's interesting, right? Allah gives pain and joy in the same day. A loss and a victory. Very interesting. So, Uthman is given a share of the Battle of Badr. Why? Because Uthman is indeed counted among those who fought in Badr. Although he was not there, and he didn't attend because he wanted to go, but he didn't attend because he was under orders of the Prophet ﷺ. And so the Prophet gave him his share, as the rest of the warriors got shares for their participation in the battle. Uthman is given a share. And we know about the people of Badr that they are considered to be the best people among the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? And the angels who came down and assisted the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are considered to be the best among the angels. So whoever participated in Badr or has the honor of being a part of Badr is considered to be the best of mankind, or the best people, right? What a beautiful honor that Uthman is getting. So we're already seeing so many honors. He gets to marry the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, to be a son-in-law to the Prophet ﷺ, and then, be the one who gives the Prophet ﷺ a grandson. And we know that it happened also with other of his children, but this is his first grandson. So many beautiful blessings, right? Then, this is the Battle of Badr, and then, the Prophet ﷺ, and we said that the Prophet ended up marrying Hafsa, right? This happened around the time that the Prophet ﷺ married Hafsa, right? Which is the daughter of Umar ibn Khattab, right? This is Uhud. Now this is an interesting thing. We know that the Muslims were winning in the Battle of Uhud in the beginning, right? The Prophet ﷺ stationed 50 archers on this cliff or hill, if you will, and they were to watch the flanks or the backs of the Muslims to make sure that everything was okay. And Khalid ibn Walid with his horsemen noticed towards the middle of the battle that the Muslims perceived that they won the battle, and they would have won. They would have won. So even though the Prophet ﷺ told them not to leave the cliff or the hill, they left anyway, because they saw the Muslims gathering the spoils of war, and they wanted to get what they could. So they left, and Khalid sees this opportunity, and he runs behind them, and he outflanks the Muslims, and now they're in a very serious and chaotic situation. At this moment, Uthman, in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of whatever was going on, he fled. And so the reason why I'm mentioning these things is because you're going to see how towards the end of Uthman's life, people tried to use these things as as things to pick at his character, right? Oh, you weren't at the Battle of Badr. Well, it was for a reason, And so here at Uhud, the Prophet ﷺ, there's an ayah that came down. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an ayah forgiving the people who fled. It's in Ali Imran, it's the 155th ayah, you should check it out. He is forgiving the people in this ayah for fleeing. So Uthman is forgiven for that mistake. He's forgiven. So the people who come later, who take the life of Uthman, they sit here and they use these two things. Oh, Uthman was not at Badr. And Uthman, he fled in the Battle of Uhud. There's tons of, khalas, Allah in the Quran forgave him. Who are you? Right? The Battle of Badr, he was taken care of here, and the Prophet ﷺ counted him among those who were at Badr. So, their claims are baseless, empty. So, let's move on to some of the things that Uthman did for the Ummah that were just incredible things. These are the things that really make me love Uthman even more. When they got to Medina from the Hijrah, you have to understand they're coming from a city that had Zamzam, an infinite supply of water. Nobody's thirsty. Everyone has water. The water will never run out. So they moved to a land that doesn't have water like that. In fact, the Muslims had and this well, they would go handful of like wheat or barley, stuff like that, handful of it, and they would give it for a bucket of water. So this was the water scheme that was going on. And the interesting thing about all of this is that so Uthman, the Prophet ﷺ says, who will purchase this well for and I promised them paradise. Well, and how he acquired it. We know he acquired it, but there are two different versions. One says that he paid the guy's asking price, which was 35,000 dirhams. of the 10, right? This is one case where he's already promised paradise. The next case is right here. So Uthman goes, and the guy wants those. There's two stories about this. He takes the well, and now the Muslims have the well.